In this episode, we speak about an asset which has been heavily disputed for all of history. It is the foundation of many disparities, but when used responsibly, it is the sole driver of economic growth in developing countries like ours. Land, one of the world's most valuable resources. Whether your involvement with Investing in Lucia includes land for building a residence or setting up a thriving business, we mean it when we say, make it your own. We are invested in you. When Investing in Lucia was first established as a National Development Corporation in the 1970s, the government vested over 6,000 acres of land to the organization. NDC was charged with strategically using the land to promote economic development in the country. It was also meant to help the agency be self-sustained as a statutory body without using a government subvention. Over the past 50 years, our mandates have changed and recalibrated to suit the economic needs of the time, and so has the utilization of this land. Building factory shells during a manufacturing surge in the 70s was one of the first uses of that land, and the agency also built the country's first duty-free port in Point Seraphine. Since about 40 years ago, ISL has also been engaging in residential land development to sell at below market rate to citizens. Currently, there are two main categories in which the Development Control Authority has divided ISL's lands, for commercial and residential development. Let us start with the first category, and the one with which you're probably most familiar. Investing in Lucia is one of the few investment promotion agencies in the Caribbean which can directly provide land and property for purchase or lease in the investment facilitation process. This makes St. Lucia a convenient and easy location to do business. ISL can facilitate land for investment broadly under three primary sectors: tourism, manufacturing or agro-processing, and business process outsourcing. We are open to facilitating other sectors too. As we discussed in episode 2, tourism is regarded as our bread and butter industry. No matter what happens in the world, we can count on our pitons, the sun, sand, and sea to always be there. So ISL has set apart property in ideally touristic locations to promote to investors. The lands were evaluated based on their potential to bring in as much revenue and direct investment as possible. One such developer that you're probably familiar with is Coconut Bay, who benefited from ISL's facilitation process through a lease-to-sell agreement. Manufacturing and BPO investors can rent or lease factory shell space from Investing in Lucia at a fraction of the commercial cost. Baron Foods in Lucia had been a beneficiary of a similar arrangement as far back as 30 years ago. Now, the business has grown exponentially right there in the factory shell spaces purchased from ISL. These arrangements are essential to promoting the success of startups and ensuring that business is always viable in the country. ISL also engages in strategic land use in the form of residential development. Currently, the agency is working on 3 land developments in Boisjoli Dennery with 25 lots, Bosha Miku with 59 lots, and Lafargue Choiseul, which has 114 lots. These developments are fitted with road infrastructure and utilities and sold at an affordable rate. This is important. Inadequate access to land rights is a serious hindrance to development globally. For this reason, in 2019, ISL re-evaluated its stance on helping citizens get an opportunity to secure their economic standing and the future of their families. This brings us to discuss ISL's unplanned lands. According to the World Bank, only 30% of the world's population has legally registered rights to their land and homes. At Investing in Lucia, we recognize that proper land use is essential for a thriving agricultural industry, it is helpful for the environment, and it is a catalyst for sustainable development. Therefore, Investing in Lucia embarked on the Land Rationalisation project. Before we go into how rationalization works, here is our trivia question. Name all our land developments and the number of lots they each have. Visit our Facebook and Instagram pages to answer the question and win a prize. Squatting is the practice of occupying unused land without lawful permission. Investing Lucia has battled the issues of squatting and unplanned settlements on both private and public lands for a long time. Some people have been on these lands for generations, enduring all the risks that come with improper land use, poor infrastructure, financial instability, poor access to utilities, and most of all, conflict, usually with other squatters or family members. Investing Lucia heavily discourages unlawful settlement because of the severe risks involved and because it prevents the agency from strategically using land for economic development. But the Land Rationalization Project is also an important step towards our mandate. The project will reduce negative impacts in existing squatter settlements through executing subdivision surveys and construction of all infrastructure. Investing Lucia's project manager for the Land Rationalization Project will explain more about it.
Investing Lucia commenced a land rationalization project in late 2018. 8 areas are being rationalized, 5 areas in Dennery, which are Despinos, Larisus, Gros Rivière, Limy, and Lapel, and 3 areas in Vieux-Fort, which is Perrault, Grace 2, which is normally called La Retraite, and Grace 1, which is normally called Coolitown. Okay, land rationalization is the process of putting order to illegal development. In a rationalization, in an area where before rationalization, you have people building anywhere, right? As a result, there are no roads, there are no footpaths, there's no water, there's no electricity, there's no drains, and as you know, without drains and roads, we have a problem, especially during the rainy season. To improve the lives of the individuals who live there, Investing Lucia embark on this rationalization where we're going to survey the land. Everybody will have their individual plots, which they will benefit in the long run because their land will have more value because we are going to be putting roads, footpaths, like where we cannot put, of course, there'll be places where we cannot put roads because of where the houses are. And we're trying our best not to relocate people. But nevertheless, we'll be putting access, we could say access, we'll be putting access, we'll put in drains, there'll be electricity and water. And definitely that will improve the lives of the people. The value of their land will go up in the long run, and they will be able to, it will be a big benefit because they'll be able to use the land as collateral.
Squatting and the unlawful use of land is not restricted to residential only. It extends to agricultural and commercial land use as well, and this is dealt with in different ways. In a recent case, Investing Lucia moved farmers from a location earmarked for sale for hotel developers. The agency brought them to more suitable lands and provided clearing, land preparation, and irrigation, then forged agreements to sell the lots at below market rate. Sometimes ISL works in collaboration with local banks and community credit unions to help occupants create new legal financial records for themselves. Through land developments and rationalization, Investing Lucia is well on its way to creating 600 new landowners, as mentioned in the 2020-2021 budget address. We want St. Lucians to own a piece of home. We want to empower people to have the advantage of personal investment, and we are growing the economy, one legal homeowner, one farmer, one hotelier, one manufacturer at a time. This ends our episode on land and how Investing Lucia is utilizing the asset as an economic driver. Visit us if you're interested in land facilitation for your business or for one of our residential developments. If you want to know more about the Land Rationalization Project, visit our Vieux-Fort office in the Gablewoods Plaza or call 454-9096. This is your country, your economy, your land. Make it your own, but the lawful way. Thank you for staying with us so far and look out for what's next from Invest St. Lucia. We are invested in you.